Okay guys, so with all of these cameras coming out lately, Micro Four Thirds is in a somewhat awkward place right now because there's no real innovation, and yeah, with the A7S III and the Canon R5 and R6 we have great competitors which are offering so many features that the GH5, although it's a great camera, it just can't compete with. So let's talk about Micro Four Thirds and what is likely going to happen in the future. So I've been actually a Panasonic Lumix GH5 shooter since I think 2017. That's when I went to Southeast Asia for the first time actually, and I was able to learn everything from the beginning, because before that I was shooting on a Canon T3i or a Canon 600D as it's called in Europe I think, and it's been a great camera, but it wasn't the sharpest, although the sensor was bigger, but the video codec was just not on par with the GH5. So in theory, although the Canon 600D had a bigger sensor than the GH5, it still performed worse, which is some of the things I'd like to talk about in this video, because many people underestimate the things you can actually do with Micro Four Thirds. But before we go ahead and talk about sensor size and other types of functions in these types of cameras, let's take a look at 43 Rumors. Just a little over a week ago, Johnny from Synody actually made an interview with Yosuke Yamane-san, which is the director of Panasonic's imaging business unit. And there was one thing that Yamane-san said in this video that puts Micro Four Thirds in a somewhat awkward place. Because when Johnny asked him about a GH5 successor, he told us that nearly 3.5 years have passed since the launch of the GH5, and many customers are still purchasing GH5, but many creators still shoot movies in a Micro Four Thirds format, which is true. And as I have assured many times, we will continue to develop products for Micro Four Thirds as well as full frame to meet the needs of a wide range of creators. Regarding the replacement model for the GH5 camera that you asked about, I will inform you, but the information may be spread. Of course, we are considering it, and we look forward to seeing you there. And if you ask me, that little sentence right here, the "we are considering it," sounds like a very polite way of saying no. When I was in Japan, I noticed that people generally don't like to say no. And I feel like the L mount is actually taking over where Micro Four Thirds was heading. Because when Panasonic released that S5 full frame camera just a few weeks ago, many of the people that made a review about this camera actually talked about it as if it was a replacement for the GH5, which I simply think is not true, because the GH5 still offers better codecs and, in my opinion, a better overall package than the Lumix S5. And if we also take into consideration how much L-mount lenses actually cost compared to Micro Four Thirds lenses, we're playing in a whole different ballpark here. But when I think about it, it actually kind of makes sense to me, because I think that Panasonic wants the semi-professional and professional users to go to the S5 instead, which most likely will offer even better quality. Since it has a bigger sensor, it will probably have better low light performance and very likely also a better dynamic range compared to Micro Four Thirds. Then again, if we take a look at what Yamane-san is saying here, that the GH5 is actually still selling quite well, I feel a little bit bad about a potential GH6, because I think that Panasonic wants to leave Micro Four Thirds only for the very low-end cameras, or at least it could be. I mean, this is all speculation, guys. I have no idea. I mean, I'm not from Panasonic and I have no personal contact to them to know any of the inside stuff, but this is just to heat up the discussion a little, and I'd really like to know what you guys think, so let me know in the comments down below. But if people go from the GH5 to the L mount, which in the future might actually become a little more affordable, because if we take a look at 43 Rumors here, we can see that Panasonic might change their mind and do APS-C L mount cameras. After all, this rumor is actually from a trusted source that has shared many correct rumors in the past, so the owner of 43 Rumors is actually 99% confident that it's true, and this is what it said. Sigma is very unhappy with the progress of L-mount. They're urging Panasonic to focus much more on the system. They are really thinking of an APS-C entry-level system based on L-mount. They now see Canon as biggest competitor in video segment, and it kind of makes sense to me, because back then when Sony introduced the E-mount system with APS-C and full frame in mind, this was actually a great thing because it's just one mount. Now, the E-mount might not be the best one compared to our F-mount and L-mount in terms of flange distance and diameter, but actually still works really well because it combines both APS-C and full frame. And the way it is right now, Panasonic is in a somewhat awkward space because there's L-mount on one side, which currently is only for full frame, and on the other hand we have Micro Four Thirds. And these are two totally separate systems. And the thing is, if someone wants to go from one system to another, you'll have to buy lenses. That's the way it is. And in the current state, L-mount lenses are just way too expensive, or at least for me personally. I mean, there are definitely professionals that will say that this is cheap stuff, but I don't think so. And I think that Micro Four Thirds is a lot more affordable. But if we take a look at the past few months, Panasonic hasn't really released anything other than the mediocre G100 Micro Four Thirds camera and focused more on L-mount, which is kind of unfortunate because if you ask me, Micro Four Thirds still has a place in that world. There are actually quite many benefits you can get with Micro Four Thirds lenses because of the double crop factor, which is perfect for landscape photography or for macro shooting because more is in focus and you don't have to stop down as much. And also, if we think about it, of course, there are lenses like the 10 to 25mm f1.7, which are just huge for Micro Four Thirds. But on the other hand, there are lenses like this one right here. This is the 12 to 35mm, which is a 24 to 70mm equivalent, and it has a constant f2.8 aperture, which is just awesome, and it only weighs around 300 grams. I actually thought about this for quite a while now, and I feel like the weight that I can save with Micro Four Thirds is just insane when it comes to traveling and carrying around a camera that's so heavy that shooting with it makes absolutely no fun is not the right intention in my opinion. But the real question here is, what will happen if Panasonic or Olympus decides to absolutely shut down Micro Four Thirds and there will be no lenses, no more new cameras, and only full frame and APS-C in the future? Well, I personally think that this is not going to happen because Micro Four Thirds definitely has a place in our world, but it might be that smartphones will take over in the long run because they're getting better and better. And if Micro Four Thirds fails to innovate, they might be replaced by smartphones in the long run, which would be kind of unfortunate. But if I think about the lenses and cameras we have about now, I'm personally pretty satisfied with what we got, except for maybe the autofocus of the GH5, which is not the best, but we got pretty neat lenses for the Micro Four Thirds mount, and I actually really enjoy using these. So I just recently bought another one, the Panasonic Leica 42.5mm f1.2 Nocticron, which is a great portrait lens from what I've read so far, and it was a steal, really. I think the new price for that lens is about 1,300 euros, and I got it on eBay for just 690 euros, which was definitely a good deal for me. By the way, tomorrow I am going north to meet a good friend in the north of Germany, and he pre-ordered the Canon EOS R6, and I think the 35mm f1.8. Yeah, we thought about making a quick comparison between the two cameras, the GH5 and the Canon EOS R6. So if you're interested in that, then make sure to subscribe to see when I upload that video. So the point of this video is to talk about Micro Four Thirds a little and whether this is a system that can survive even if there will be no new cameras or new lenses. Of course, the GH5 is not perfect. It has no great autofocus except for photo mode, where it's pretty great actually. And with all the updates of the autofocus system, it actually got quite a lot better in the past. So it might even be usable for some cases or some scenarios, but I don't know. I mean, I don't like to rely on autofocus because if it would shift right now, or if it would focus on the background, that would be just horrible. So I just manually set my focus and then roll through the video like I do here and just hope that I stay in the focus plane all the time. But if we think about the other benefits, it's hard to argue that this is the better system for travel type of photography and videography. But not only that, if you like to focus on your main subject and you want to carry around more of your lenses to have more creative freedom, I think that the Micro Four Thirds system is actually a really good option. And if we take a look at some other lenses I have right here, this is the 12 to 60mm f2.8 to f4. It's also a very small lens, as you can see. If I zoom to 60mm right here, it gets a little bit larger, but other than that, it's in a really small package, and the weight of it is also I think 350 gram or something. It's not much more than this one, but the build quality is insane. It's a full metal construction and generally feels like a tank. And one more great thing that Micro Four Thirds offers is this right here. If you take a look here, I have this adapter right here, which is a Speed Booster XL by Metabones. And I have a Canon 85mm f1.8, which then again, if you multiply it with 0.64 times 2, becomes a roughly 108.8 millimeter lens, and the f1.8 aperture is around 2.3 in terms of full frame equivalent depth of field. The light gathering ability of this actually gets 1 1/3 stop better than what it is right here, which then is a f1.2 lens. So effectively we got a 110mm f1.2 lens with a speed booster in such a small package right here. And if you compare this to an 85mm f1.2 lens for a full frame camera, you'll notice that the weight is just so much more. The lens is bigger, it's so much less comfortable to work with, and this just feels perfect in my hand. But there are also other native Micro Four Thirds lenses that can actually reach that type of quality and background blur, which is the one that I have just bought for 690 euros. In the next few weeks, when this lens arrives right here, I'll be testing it against the Canon 85mm f1.8 with the Speed Booster XL. So we'll see whether native is really better on the GH5. I actually think so, because if I compare it to the Leica 10-25mm f1.7 I got right here, this one is really far from being sharp. It might be because of the Speed Booster XL, I'm not sure. It actually should increase the sharpness just a bit, but I'm not sure. But the thing is, you got so many options with Micro Four Thirds. You can adapt lenses like these or other lenses like the Tokina 11-20mm f2.8. I got a Viltrox speed booster right here, which does not have the same amount of focal reduction. It's just 0.71 crop right here. This is because the Tokina only is an APS-C lens. So if we use the Speed Booster XL on this lens right here, we might see some vignetting on the wide end of the lens. That's the reason why I'd suggest to go with the Viltrox right here. But these are so many options, and I got even more right here. This right here has been my favorite lens for so long, until the Leica 10-25mm f1.7 came out and replaced it, because it's a native lens. It has better coatings in my opinion. The autofocus is just so nice. And yeah, this one is bulky and so heavy compared to the Leica. But this is probably one of the sharpest lenses that are out there. And it's an 18-35mm, which is not the same focal length you get with the Leica 10-25mm, which is about 20-50mm in terms of full frame equivalence, but it's still a really great lens. It's so much fun, but in the end, if you wanna go with native lenses with the best possible working autofocus, you can just go ahead and use something like this right here, or the Leica 10-25mm that I'm using right now. And these options make the system really great, because you don't have to invest in very expensive lenses like the 24-70mm f2.8 by Canon, or other lenses in that price category, which goes up to 2,000 and more euros. You can just buy a cheap Tokina instead of a 16-35. The Tokina costs around, I think you can get it for 300 euros used, or maybe 400. And a new one is not much more expensive. And the Sigma is also not the most expensive lens in the world. I think it's about 700 or 600 euros right now. Of course, you still have to get a focal reducer like the Speed Booster XL, but there are also very cheap alternatives like the Viltrox, which only costs about 150, while the Metabones is, I think, 700 euros or something. But in the end, if you want to go into the semi-professional segment of cameras for filmmaking and photography, Micro Four Thirds is still a great option, especially if you compare it to other cameras like the A7S III, which costs, I think, 4,200 euros in Europe. And a new GH5, I think you can get this used for under $1,000 right now. No one is selling the A7S III right now for that price. You could basically get 4 GH5s for one A7S III. And I mean, you can do so much more with 4 GH5s. So just think about it. And that's the point of this video. If you don't know what GAS is, it's gear acquisition syndrome. It's horrible, honestly. And sometimes I still feel like I get it from time to time. But when I think about all these lenses I got, who am I to talk about gas actually? Yeah, I mean, I got quite a few lenses, but this has been quite a bit of hard work, tons and tons of hours and 3 years of accumulating gear. So it has not been easy. I didn't have all of this from the start. I worked for this and it took a while, but honestly, changing my system now, even if I sell all of these lenses, I could probably only get one lens and a Sony a7S III, which in my opinion is far less useful than everything I got right here. And that's the point. Guys, whenever a new camera comes out, don't fall into that trap, because marketing nowadays is so damn strong and it's so hard to just stay strong yourself and think about all the possibilities that your camera offers. GH5 will most likely stay in my heart forever. And there are other people like Andy X, for example. You might know him, and if you don't, then check out his channel. He made a great review on the GH4 and Sigma 18-35 plus speed booster combination. And this was actually my inspiration to go with the Micro Four Thirds system, to adapt some lenses and have fun with it. Especially for filmmaking, it's just awesome. But when it comes to photography, I personally still prefer these small lenses. And I can't wait to see what the Nocticron 42.5mm f1.2 will have to offer. Next year, I'll actually be on the NDX filmmaking workshop. And looking back at the past few years of that workshop, they were always focusing mainly on lighting, good story, and other aspects like props and so on. And this is the most important when it comes to telling a great story, because if you just think about it and you watch a show on Netflix, okay, now you're a camera user, so you might be asking yourself what type of camera they use. But a normal person will have different things in their mind, which are definitely not related to what type of camera they use to shoot that. It can make or enhance the feeling you get when you watch a story, but it's just a tool. And if you don't learn to use it, then a better camera will not help. Which is the main reason why I'm currently working on a course which is called the Content Creator Circle, where I'll be teaching you everything you need to know to create your own content from the very beginning. I have a newsletter on my website on valentinkosenko.com where you can sign up to get notified when the course launches. There's still a lot of work I have to do, but as I'm in the making right now, if you guys have any questions or there are any things you'd like to see in the course, you can just write a message to me on my website or here in the comments, and I'd like to include that in the course, because this course is for you guys. I want to give you guys something back after learning so much on YouTube. It's been 3 years now since I got my GH5 and started with all this filmmaking and other type of stuff, and I have learned so much on YouTube. The thing is though that everything is split. You get some information here, some information there, but honestly it's all over the place, and if you want to learn everything from the very beginning to the end, you have to search for a very, very long time. And that's why I'm creating the Content Creator Circle, so that you guys don't have to search, so that you can start here. I'll tell you everything you need to know to make money on the internet with content creation, then tell you what type of content creation there is available and how you can learn it and enjoy your life to the fullest. Now, this sounds a little bit like stock trading and all these other get-rich-quick schemes, but it's not. It still requires a lot of dedication and inner motivation, which is really, really important. You need to have that passion. You need to burn for something, be an expert in something, and then you can basically do anything you want. There are so many ways to live your life, do whatever you want, and just earn money with it. By the way, this video was shot in natural picture profile, and I was not shooting in HLG this time because I wanted to see whether the colors that come straight out of camera are good enough for such a day-to-day workflow where I just talk to the camera for a bit and don't focus on color grading or any of that, and just focus on the main idea of the video. I actually quite like the natural picture profile, although the dynamic range on the GH5 is quite limited on that. HLG is, I think, around 2 stops better, and Cine D is half a stop better, but the colors you get with natural are just so much nicer straight out of camera compared to things like Cine D or Vlog-L or HLG to begin with. So that's why I think I'll stick to natural for the next few videos, where I just sit down like this. Oh, and this was all shot with natural light. I am just using my window to the right here. No aperture 120D Mark II, which is this light right here, which I normally use. What do you think? I think it's a little bit more moody like this. And also this time the placement of my camera is a little bit different, so you can see some of the images I have back there, and there are some on the other wall as well. Maybe I'll do a studio tour in the future if you're interested in that. Talking to a teleprompter is actually so much easier. Oh my god, I didn't think about that. By the way, I was using a light for the background right here, which is a Aputure ALMC, I think. These lights are so useful to just get a nice background color, because you can easily swap the color like this right here, which then again looks absolutely awesome. I know that I said that gas is something you guys shouldn't worry about, but look at me. I mean, this is a mess. I got 1, 2. And one more thing everyone really likes about the GH5 is its unlimited recording time, which is so much when you like to talk as much as me. 4, 5, 6 lenses and 2 cameras. No, I actually got even more. I got an action cam and 360 cam. And what am I doing with my life? Am I the only one? I can't say exactly for how long I've been recording this video, but I think I'll hate myself in the post-production when I'll have to cut everything of that into as short as possible. This will be so much fun, guys. I still can't believe how fast we are growing. Guys, can you see that? 1,120. I still can't believe it. It kind of feels unreal for me just to think about 1,120 people in, let's say I would put all of these people in my apartment right here. Impossible. This is impossible. Thank you guys so much, honestly. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.